Good day. Welcome to another episode of Raw Report. I am your humble host, Robert Bob TV Brown. How you doing today? Well, here we got this fool right here. This Uncle Tom, this Coon. Black people, you better get to know who you dealing with. You really need to get to know who you dealing with. This guy is not your friend. This guy is they're just as much as your friend as Stephen from the Django was a friend to the field slaves. This guy handed out a free endorsement to Joe Biden, knowing black people are suffering and not demanding something for his people. A free freaking endorsement. I mean, this is something. He remind me of this guy, Uncle Ruckus. I know Uncle Ruckus always talk about Trump, but actually, the representation of Uncle Ruckus is a man who will sell out to the white man, and even if it means hurting black people. And that's both South Carolina senators. Now, I'm not here to talk about the South Carolina senator from on the Republican side, that's Tim Scott. I'm not here to talk about him. I'm here to talk about James Clyburn. James Clyburn went on the news once Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris as his VP. This is what James Clyburn has to say. And believe me, I'm going to break this down. Oh, yeah. I got to break this down.
I feel great about this. I really think that what Joe Biden did here put to rest a lot of things. And I think it creates the kind of faith and confidence in his leadership.
Now, let me set this up for a second. Joe Biden, his only hope of making a comeback was South Carolina. Let me set this up. Joe Biden's only hope of overtaking Bernie Sanders is South Carolina. Joe Biden was getting his butt whooped. Everybody was whooping Joe Biden, but everybody, man. Pete Buttigieg was putting a spanking on him. Bernie Sanders was putting a spanking on him. Heck, Elizabeth Warren was even beating Joe Biden in a lot of these polls. Joe Biden was behind. But Joe Biden knew there's something that was going to happen in South Carolina. I believe a whole lot of chicanery was going on in South Carolina. Number one, Kamala Harris was eating away the black vote. She was snatching the black vote away from Joe Biden in South Carolina. At the time, she was looking a little more progressive. Looks on me, Jack. Now, while she was in South Carolina, she started amassing some of the young black women vote. And even some older women vote. And Joe Biden needed that vote in order to survive. Now, after Kamala Harris started losing in numbers, thanks to Tulsi Gabbard chopping her head off on the debate stage and making her look like a dang on fool, Kamala Harris was knocked out of the race. Nobody really had nothing to do with her. They looked at her record and said, no, I ain't pushing for her. She ended up losing money. The Wall Street people decided to take money away from her and send it over to Pete Buttigieg. Because Pete Buttigieg was hot. Kamala Harris had to suspend her campaign. Why did she have to suspend her campaign? It was all fake. It was all fake. Obama and his Wall Street buddies dried up the money to Kamala Harris and shifted the money over to Pete Buttigieg because they needed her to drop out the race because it was hurting Joe. The moment she started digging into Joe, she started losing her momentum. So they came up to a deal. Nobody's going to tell you that, but I believe this. They came up to a deal because if she won, that was the furthest she was going to go. If she got a certain amount of the vote and Joe Biden got a certain amount of vote, Bernie Sanders would have got some of the black vote and a whole lot of young white people and all the other votes. He would have ended up winning South Carolina because those two people were splitting the black vote. And you got to have majority of the black vote in order to win in South Carolina. especially places like Charleston, Columbia, things like that. You got to have majority black vote. You can't have that black vote split, because if you split it, the person that doesn't have, that has everybody else's vote and only a little bit of black vote can win. And that's what Bernie Sanders was going to do. And they saw this. So Bob already admitted that, look, if Bernie Sanders looked like he's going to run away with this thing, I'm going to get involved. And sure enough, he did. So the deal was done. Joe and Kamala already had settled this. They only did all this stuff for optics. Well, since you're going to drop out the race because you're not going to have any more money, you're not going to have any more money. So you can continue this race. You can win South Carolina and get a little momentum, but you're not going no further than that. But Joe need this. Joe need to make a comeback. And that's where James Clyburn came in. That punk offered free endorsements on behalf of black people like he really, really was the king of black people in South Carolina. And I don't understand why black people stop making people your king. These people ain't representing you. They're not doing anything for you. What have Clyburn done for South Carolina lately? Were you able to buy more land thanks to Clyburn? Were you able to get more loans or grants thanks to Clyburn? You know, the wealth gap is crazy wide over there. What did Clyburn do to close the wealth gap? Well, he support the 10, 20, 30. No, he don't. He just say you ain't going to ever get reparation. And if you think you're going to get a check, forget about that. Like you tell somebody what to do. Like you control the situation and you control us. You're going to tell us to forget about that and we really going to forget about it. No, forget you. Because we ain't stopping. This old fossil. It's old jackleg Uncle Tom. Yeah, I said it. This Uncle Tom on the left doing anything to kiss Joe Biden's behind. Joe Biden better get that man a position, because that man kissed his behind and stabbed black people in the back. Black people, you think he didn't stab you in the back, but anytime a black man endorses somebody on your behalf, talking about us, Joe know us, we know Joe. When he said us, he's trying to represent you, me, and everybody else. And you guys pipe along and went up there and gave him the vote. And nothing in exchange. And now here come Kamala Harris. We started raising some noise. We started talking about, look, we're tired of the Democratic Party neglecting black people. A lot of us went over to the Republican Party. Most of us not going to do that. Most of us just going to punish you for not taking care of us, taking care of our needs, putting our needs first and foremost, especially American descendants of slaves. We're going to punish you. We're going to threaten you with a no vote, whether you like it or not. And we mean it. If you don't take care of our issues, there's a no vote. James Clyburn want to call us bluff. And this is what James Clyburn had to say.
Joe Biden has put to rest that old saying that we hear all the time, the Democrats take the black community for granted. Well, he has demonstrated that he does not. And if you recall...
Now, how in the world Joe Biden demonstrated that the Democratic Party don't take black people for granted? Because he got a half Asian, 25% black Jamaican, 25% Scotch Irish woman on his ticket? Kamala Harris don't fulfill the needs of black people. And shame on you, shame on you, sir. You don't even deserve a sir from me. Shame on you, fool. She don't represent the needs of black people, and she gonna push more for the needs of the Indian nation than blacks. She's already done it as senator. She's done more for the Indian community than she's done for black people. Anything she done for black people was not good. She's a Brahmin Indian, raised up as a Brahmin Indian that has a class system that looked down on dark-skinned Indians. So what do you think she's going to do to us? Well, I'll tell you what she's going to do to us. She did it in California. Get power and look down on us, because that's what she always do. Well, it laid the rest. Bruh, it ain't laid the rest. The wealth gap is still huge between whites and black. We demand our full equality. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Police ain't gonna stop cracking us upside the head because she's in charge. She's instituted that in California. She didn't do nothing to the cops that was cracking black people's heads in California. Matter of fact, she covered up for them. Laid to rest. Are you kidding? Get out of here with that mess, man.
On the day of my endorsement, he committed at that time that he was looking forward.
On the day of my endorsement. See, this is the problem I got with James Clyburn, and anybody who ever get in James Clyburn's face, you better call his butt out. I will do him like I did John Lewis. And I respect John Lewis for his civil rights legacy and what he did for us. He took a lot. But once he got in office, man, he was nothing but a Democratic pet boy. All he did was kiss up to the Democratic Party. It was a party over people. And I can't stand party over people. You cannot put the people before the party. I mean, you cannot put the party before the people. You got to push back on your party if they're doing anti-people things. Right now, Joe has already said, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to change this. We're not going to do Medicare for all. Matter of fact, you bring the bill on my desk, I'm going to veto it. We're not going to do no-cost education. I may do low-cost education, but we're not going to do no-cost. Joe Biden already said, I'm not for defunding the police. Kamala Harris said, I'm not for it either. We're not defunding the police. In other words, we're going to continue to let that money go into militarizing the police department. Who came up with that? Who developed that strategy in their policy? Joe Biden did that in the crime bill. Because we needed to get a stronger police force to go against the gangs. And most of the time, they wasn't going against the gang. A lot of time, they were on the side of the gangs. A lot of them was taking some of those weapons and giving it to the gangs for some good, sweet cash. Lay it to rest. Are you freaking kidding me? And since he's talking about, since that day I endorsed Joe Biden, like my endorsement will make all black people kiss Joe Biden behind. I kiss Joe Biden behind, and I'm going to have everybody else kiss Joe Biden behind. But hold up, Doc. What you did was stab black people in the back because you gave a free endorsement. And that's why I'm always on Bernie Sanders behind. You up here endorsing people without getting a demand, without pushing for something. Bro, you want my endorsement, you want my approval, we need to meet at the table. Do you realize that everybody in sports don't sit there and say, whoop-de-doo, Tiger Woods ain't doing no free endorsements. Dude is wealthy and he still won't do no free endorsements. You got this talent that draws in millions. You get to the point where there's no such thing as free endorsement. You know how valuable you are, so you demand something for the endorsement. And clearly, James Clyburn don't see the value of black people because he's giving out free endorsements.
They're putting an African-American woman on the Supreme Court. So
and Joe's going to put an African-American woman on the Supreme Court. All right, so we had an African-American woman that was the Attorney General. We had a black man was the Attorney General. They still was cracking us upside the head, dude. That don't change laws. This guy, man, this guy, this old.
I think that we've got the kind of candidate that is demonstrating by this pick that he can be trusted to move people of color into the mainstream of the Democratic Party.
So by Joe Biden picking a half Asian, 25% black, 25% Scotch Irish, white. So she's just as much as white as she is black. But more importantly, she's more Asian than any of the other two. And that's supposed to signal to black people that you can trust Joe because he picked a 25% black woman. Why do you keep saying that, Robert? Because her father, who is from Jamaican, is biracial. He's not fully black. He's biracial. His daddy was Scotch Irish Jamaican and mama was black Jamaican. That was her daddy, who she don't ever talk to, who the daddy always talking how bad she is in certain areas, who the daddy have to correct all the time. He's always correcting her. Her dad is a smart, intellectual economist that graduated from Stanford. Her mother is a biologist, cancer research, very smart lady. So when you got a half black, half white father and a full Brahmin Indian woman, which one you are more related to? You are Brahmin Indian in majority. So how, James Clyburn, she gonna call herself representing us as a full black? Why are you trying to sell us like she's a full 100% black woman? To me, I don't really worry about that, but you're selling this. You're selling this to black people. And black people are eating this stuff up, believing this crap. Don't do that. Don't, black people are smarter than that. They're not buying that. And then she gonna echo it out of her mouth, but to turn around and push more legislation for her Indian community than she would ever do for black. You look at her record today as senator and see what she's done for the Indian community and what she's done for the black community. It ain't even. She's done more for her Indian community than she done for the 25% of her black side. And he's going to talk about Joe know us because he picked the black woman. Get out of here, man. We should be able to trust him because he picked Kamala Harris. Bruh, you can pick Malcolm X. We still ain't trusting you. You got a history of stabbing black people in the back. We go out here in high numbers and vote you into office, and you still put everybody else's agenda before ours. And we're tired of it. And it might be a slow drip, but after a while, the water is going to pour, and a lot of black people is going to kick you to the curb. And no, we ain't joining the Republican Party. Black folks, you don't do that. Malcolm X say the best way to show your power is to detach from them and develop your own power.
I just love this decision. My three daughters are very happy about it. And I cannot be more happy for them.
I don't care nothing about your daughters, man.
Let me ask you about what?
Yo, man, I don't care nothing about your daughters being happy. And I don't care about you being happy. I care about my black community. This dude got some nerves. The whole Democratic Party got some nerve to try to sell us the blackness of Kamala Harris. And don't get me wrong, she is black, but she's majority Indian. And they think we're just going to be looking, they're going to hold that up in front of us, knowing like we're not smart enough to see that you're trying to play us. Now, some of people going to be played. Now, the women that support Kamala Harris, most of them supporting her because she's a woman. First. Then the fact that she has black heritage in her blood. That's true. But if you're going to continue to push the first black woman, the first black this, and you could trust Joe Biden now because we picked a black person, Bruh, that, we ain't buying that. This thing is bigger than her. I already told you Obama didn't represent black people. He had a chance to represent us, but he wasn't the leader of black people. Man, Farrakhan is more leader of the black people than Barack Obama was.
Senator Harris should expect and what the Biden-Harris campaign should expect in terms of the way a woman of color, the way a black woman, South Asian woman, daughter of immigrants, how she will be treated differently than a white woman would be treated or than a man of any color would be treated. What we understand about racial and gender dynamics in politics right now and with this president in terms of what they should be bracing themselves for and how Senator Harris should expect to be targeted.
I think she got some of that already today. Trump's reaction to this
Trump.
nomination
we gonna get her. We gonna
was
be all
to be
over.
expected. But you know, she's been out here a long time. She's run California statewide twice. She got out in the middle of this campaign for the presidency. I watched her in this campaign. She knows how to take a punch and she knows how to throw one.
She know how to take a punch. Tulsi Gabbard knocked her butt out. She got a glass freaking jaw, man. Talking about she know how to take a punch. She was speechless on that stage. Mouth wide open, man. A million flies could have went through that. Her mouth was so wide open, her husband was getting happy. Let me stop.
Joe Biden found that out, and the whole country saw it. And we watched her doing hearings. The Barr hearing, Kavanaugh hearing, she has demonstrated that she knows how to take the opposition on, and it's going to come her way. She knows that. But I think that she's prepared for it. She's demonstrated that. And I think that Joe Biden has done himself a great favor by bringing her onto the ticket.
No, Joe Biden just made a bad decision bringing her on the ticket. I would have been happy with Stacey Abrams. Honestly speaking, give me a moment. Honestly speaking, I would have been happier with Stacey Abrams. I mean, I wouldn't be happy, but I'd rather have Stacey Abrams as the VP. Lord knows she done travel all around the world and kiss Joe Biden behind. She deserve to be his VP. Kamala Harris ain't do no kissing of his behind. Man, I wonder how Stacey Abrams feel. I mean, there Barbara Lee, there was a whole bunch of other black people he could have picked that don't have the record of Kamala Harris. You got the master, the creator, and the developer of one of the most racist policies since slavery, Joe Biden with the crime bill, and you got the woman who perfected to the T and became his chief disciple and implemented it in California, brutalizing black people all over California. Putting fear and striking fear in the heart of black parents. If your kids don't show up for a certain amount of days, you going to jail. You got two choices. Either you're going to go out and fight this firefight to get some time knocked off, or you ain't ever getting no time knocked off. But what am I going to get for? We're going to pay you $1 a day. If you want time off, you're going to fight these firefighters. In other words, you're going to go out here and protect the home of these rich, wealthy white people because there wasn't that many black people, maybe Kobe Bryant or somebody. That's a good choice. Joe Biden did a good job when he picked her. Yeah, get out of here. Yeah, we know Joe. And we know Kamala Harris. And all the fear and the boogie scare of Trump ain't going to put us in a position where we got to choose. We'll say no to both of you because you both are horrible. Joe Biden has been one of the most brutal, dominating white supremacists in Washington, D.C. You go back and watch Joe Biden's tape and how he talk about the hood and how we gonna crack his mama. We got to do something to stop them from cracking my mama upside their head. Go take a look at it. C-SPAN, Google it. All these things. Always talking down on black people. Always putting legislation out there to put shackles on black men. He the one coined the phrase super predators. Hillary Clinton just picked it up and used it in another speech. Madam Secretary, we got predators on the street. And I know we caused this. I know we were responsible for them being that way, but they must come off the streets. To get them away from killing my grandmother, raping my children, all that, whatever you said. But you know, I got it all in my video archives. Go look at it. See, I don't just talk stuff. I got proof. What really hurts me is my people bought into this image of the man that Barack Obama picked as VP, and if it was all right with Obama, it must be all right with us. Dude, you don't understand political strategy. Joe Biden had to be picked in order for Obama to win, because there were states that Obama could not win, but Joe Biden being on the ticket would get him the win. That's the reason why Hillary Clinton lost, because there were states that Hillary Clinton was not going to win. That don't mean Joe has changed. Joe can lick all the ice cream and drive around in a Corvette and put on shades with Obama all he want. That don't get rid of white supremacy. White supremacy is a mindset. And it don't always show up in a racist actions. It don't show up with somebody calling you names. Well, Obama picked him and now he picked Kamala Harris. What they got to do with black people? What do that have to do with black people and the needs of black people and what black people are struggling? You had Obama for 8 years and he done everything for gay people. He done everything for Latinos. He did even a lot of stuff for white women. The first law he passed was I can't even say the name. I can't even say it, but that was the first act he passed. Not a black act. It was a women's right act. Then came the LGBT legislation. Then came the Hispanic legislation. What's up with the black legislation? And he's half black, half white. Here's the deal. He don't understand the soil of American black because he is not part of the soil of American black. Neither is Kamala Harris. When I say the soul American black, I mean the roots go down to slavery. And our struggle has always been separate from immigrants. Even though immigrants came here and got some of our struggle, there's still laws in place that give them more than we can ever get. Did Obama try to fix that? No. We black people, the soil, fought for people to come to this country, and they come in here and prosper in all kind of ways because the government give them all kind of leeways to prosper. But when it come to us, no. And that's why we're hollering reparation. And that's why we're saying no black agenda, no vote. And that's why James Clyburn needs to shut his mouth up. You can get 100 Kamala Harris. She don't represent us. You can't tell me this guy. You can't tell me this guy and this guy is not the same person. Look at this. Can't tell me they ain't the same person, man. Look at that. That's the same dude. Uncle Tom sellout. Don't care nothing about his people. Willing to throw in a willing to throw them to the wolves of a white supremacist with nothing in exchange. Boy. I don't know what we're going to do. That guy, y'all need to vote that guy out of office. It's time for him to retire.